soul food is for the soul. It may not be for the body, but it is for the soul. Like, it's that comfort food. It's that food that you need sometimes. Welcome back to Things Come Together, where we talk about the history of soul food and how we made magic out of our toughest moments. And good morning, sunshine. I'm feeling good today. Like, I'm feeling very settled, and it's New Year's Eve, and I set a goal for myself that I just wanted to be in a peaceful, restful space at the end of this year. So you know how they got all the things on the checklist that you got to do for New Year's Eve before New Year's Day. And I've done a few of them, but for the most part, I'm like, I'm not stressing myself out about nothing. Like, tweak the vision board a little bit. I'm about to do a little bit of cleaning in a little bit. I went and got me some food yesterday, so I ain't got to worry about that. So, I'm just in a space where I'm just like, you know what? This year about to come in. I'm not coming with no bad energy. I don't want no bad energy from this new year. But in general, I feel like very light and like I said, just at peace about this upcoming year. So far, 2025 is coming in the way that I would like to see a year come in. So, we ain't quite there yet, but so far so good. And for how did we get here, today's dish, as y'all probably saw, or as you did see, is banana pudding. And I made mine with the caramel drizzle. And I had caramel banana pudding one time, and I've been hooked ever since. Like, growing up, I really didn't like it that much. Like, I knew people that loved banana pudding, but for some reason I just wasn't that big of a fan of it. Like, I prefer peach cobbler more. But then I had that caramel banana pudding, and it changed my life. Like, it really changed my life, and I haven't been right since. And since this was my first time making it, I had to go get in the kitchen with Granny for this one, for her to show me how it's done. But I was okay. I want to make a caramel one because that's the kind I like. So she showed me how to make it. And then I ended up actually making another one with a different flavor right after it. And so, I got the hook of it. Like, they actually was telling me that my banana pudding was better than Granny's. I'm not going, toot my own horn, but that is one thing I would say about this year. My cooking has really elevated this year. And so I'm really happy about that. Like, I set out a goal that I want to do more content around food this year, and we are here, and it's been getting better and better, like my pictures and the way it's been looking. I mean, taste has always generally been good, but I also feel like I cooked a lot of stuff this year that I had never cooked before. So, every time you don't get it right your first time, but it was a bunch of stuff that I actually did get good. For Christmas, I made some sweet potatoes. And one day I'm gonna get these sweet potatoes down, because the first few batches that I've made on my own, like, it's something wrong with them every time. Like, they're either too soft, or this last time I cooked them, I didn't boil them long enough because I was trying not to make them too soft. But one thing I do got down packed is the sauce. Like, I know how to make the sauce that goes on top of it. So now I just gotta get my potato right, and y'all not gonna be able to touch me. But so with the banana pudding, I made another one. It came out good. Granny gave me my accolades and said that it might have been better than hers. So I'm gonna take her word for that. And then as far as the history behind banana pudding, y'all, white people made this one too. But this is the thing I'm gonna say about it though. All of the recipes for banana pudding, like the first recipes for banana pudding, they were all recorded by white women. So this is my theory here, okay? Go with me here. Most enslaved people were not actually writing recipes. And there's also like the whole premise that African people in general And most indigenous people are not writers of history. Like, we believe in oral history, so we tell each other things instead of writing them down. So honestly, I'm starting to feel like a few of these recipes and attributions of where food is coming from is really just boiling down to who wrote the recipes first. And I would like to take this up with somebody. I don't know exactly who I take it up with, but I do want to go ahead and take this up with somebody. So I'm going to let y'all know who I end up finding to take this up with. But anyways, the point of it is that, so this recipe for banana pudding, the first one wasn't even recorded until after slavery. Or after slavery was abolished, supposedly. We're not going to go into the deep end about that. We're going to stay focused on the topic at hand. But yeah, so it was created in the late 1880s, and it's actually very much inspired by a dish that comes out of England, called trifle, which I think they said the very first trifle recipe came in like the 1500s, but it was nothing like the trifle that's more popular today. And so the actual more known trifle, that recipe came around in the 1700s. Okay, so follow me here. So the banana pudding recipe was like the 1880s. It was out of Massachusetts, actually, which I'm going to go into a whole spiel about it. But I got my book, y'all. I got High on the Hog that talks about the history of soul food. And one thing I'm going to say about Dr. Jessica B. Harris, like, she put together a really good work. Like, I'm only on page 90 right now. So, I'm still at the beginning. And it's just so full of information. Like, I've learned so much in this book. And, I'm going to be honest, like, there's some things I have a few questions about, but I do feel like that is like the best way to read books. It's like, it's not necessarily about taking everything, for word for word, which granted, that's no disrespect to her, because I'm sure she did probably years of research to create this book. So it's not questioning her research or her validity. It's just my brain tinkers about things sometimes. But it's just such a wealth of information in here. And that, remember I said banana pudding, it came out of Massachusetts, that first recipe. That recipe actually included sponge cake instead of the vanilla wafers. It wasn't until the 1920s where another white woman from Southern Illinois, came out with the recipe that used the vanilla wafers. And it was interesting too, because the vanilla wafers that we use are put out by Nabisco. At that time, the company was called National Biscuit Company, Nabisco. And they saw how popular that recipe was making their product, and so they ended up using that recipe and putting it on the box. And so even more using that marketing tool, like, hey, y'all want to have some banana pudding, go ahead and use our product. But the reason why I thought about the book is because I don't know why I didn't think about this, even though, duh. But I feel like a lot of times we attach slavery to just the South, but obviously we know the 13 colonies went all across the East Coast, so the North and the South. And this book talks about what slavery looked like in the northern cities as well, the northern states and colonies as well. So even that idea that the first recipe came out of Massachusetts, I'm like, it was a black person in that kitchen somewhere. Like, I'm just not convinced. I'm not convinced. I mean, I'm not saying that they didn't create it, okay? But I'm not saying that they did either. And I just got some questions. That's all. I just got some questions. And I feel like that's a healthy way, to approach this history. Like, it could be theirs. It really could be theirs. But I just got some questions. Because even in England with the trifle, Black folks was doing a lot of that cooking too. Like, England, and this is something, again, that they talked about in the book and that I found in my research too, that England actually did keep a lot of enslaved Africans there as well. Obviously, they have their own emancipation history. But this book talks about how, as opposed to France, like, there wasn't a lot of African people in France during the slave trade and slavery times. But England was one of those places that did have enslaved people there. And something about these timelines, again, is just making me feel like Black folks might have created the trifle too. But that's not what the history books say. It's not what the history books say, so I want to be very clear about that. That's the history according to Joe. You know, I sometimes my brain just be tinkering about stuff. But yeah, so trifle, like I said, it was like sponge cake, and it was known to be like kind of like a throwaway dessert, honestly, or like a mix of different things that they wasn't gonna really use no more. So the sponge cake, they would soak it in wine, and then they would mix it with custard, which in the form of banana pudding became the pudding part, and then they mix it with whipped cream and fruit. And so, of course, when you look at banana pudding, you got your layers of the cookies, the bananas, the pudding, and some people do use like meringue or like a whipped cream, but we don't use that. We just keep it very cookies, bananas, pudding, okay? And so yeah, you know, questions still need answers about the origins of banana pudding. But we're gonna let them have this one. We're gonna let maybe we not. I'm gonna let them have this one. Okay, I'm gonna let them have this one. Some ain't sitting right in my spirit, but I'm gonna let them have this one. As far as the connection to like African countries and the diaspora in general, so there are a bunch of different accounts of where bananas are actually from, but one of those accounts does include Africa. So, you know, we're gonna put that in the air again. I don't know why there's so much mismatch information about bananas, but I'm gonna be thinking on that either way. So yeah, one of them is they came from West Africa to be exact. And then I also looked up another source that said Papua New Guinea, which is near Australia. So, you know, there's a lot of questions about where exactly bananas came from. And honestly, it's very quite possible that they were initially found in all of these different areas because, you know, Black folks was traveling before Europeans. So it's very, you know, possible that it could have been something that started on the continent of Africa, and then people who traveled to Papua New Guinea brought the banana with them there too. So, you know, all of the histories could come together to create a unified story. But nonetheless, majority of bananas today actually come from Asia. And this is a while ago that I ended up seeing this documentary, and I think it was like a Vice video or something, very random, something I found on YouTube. But anyways, it was talking about how like the most common species of bananas that we're used to, which is that seedless banana, that is actually becoming extinct. And so now the industry is like trying to find a banana to replace it. And this is even further back than that. One of my friends, she was like, you know, I be having like one of my friends, Carlita, and I talked about her on a previous episode, and how we went to go see Tabitha Brown together. She really be woke. Like she be really on the deep side of woke stuff. And so she was one time was like telling me about how bananas actually have seeds in them. And I was like, what? Like I ain't never seen no banana with seeds. And she was like, yeah, like they have like these big black seeds in them. And so that documentary talked about that as well, like how regularly grown bananas have like these big black seeds in them. But through human engineering, which I want to say about that too, is not necessarily always like chemicals and stuff like that, but it's like mating one group with another group. Now, how they make groups that just end up coming with no seeds, I don't know. But the point is that they ended up getting this banana that was seedless that made it more edible for the public, and that's what they started to mass produce. Well, now it's becoming extinct. I don't know nothing about that either. Go find the video. Just type in extinct bananas. You'll find it somewhere. But so yeah, so now like, and it's so interesting too because again, when I started changing up my diet, this was like probably had to be somewhere between 2012 and 2015. I started realizing that when I went to the store and bought bananas, sometimes they would make the roof of my mouth itch. And I was like, I ain't never been allergic to bananas before. So like, what is this about? But then when I seen the documentary, I was like, oh, this makes sense. Like they're trying to find different type of bananas and replacements. And for whatever reason, I just had somewhat of a allergic reaction to that particular banana. So it's been interesting. Like, I don't know what they're going to come up with, y'all. I don't know if we're going to end up giving up bananas altogether. But honestly, the way that the banana pudding was tasting, I don't plan on giving that one up. I really don't. I'm gonna just move right along so y'all don't judge me too much. But anyways, now like the bananas that I've used, I've been seeing like they do have those very, very small black seeds in them. So they're not seedless, but it's still like you can barely notice it, and it would be closer to like a banana that we used to with no seeds at all. So that's the whole thing about bananas. Bananas have a very interesting history. Like, they really do. And this is the other thing that was talked about in this book too, and that in general, is that bananas actually were probably introduced to the United States and North America in general through the Caribbeans. And I didn't think about it, but it's the whole idea that like, and there's like some, what's the word? Like, contradictory history about this too, of like how slavery, or at least I guess chattel slavery, was introduced to America as well. Because I could have swore it was a part of this book that talked about how chattel slavery and history, quote unquote, that's connected to race-based slavery was introduced to the Americas, particularly the US, by British colonizers. And so there were, I guess, other forms of slavery that was implemented by the Spanish and the French, who were already in the US before, or no, by the Spanish, who was already in the US before the British colonies were established. France ended up coming after the British, but basically the form of slavery that the British colonies brought to the U.S. ended up creating chattel slavery and really transforming what slavery meant. But it was a type of slavery that they were already using in the Caribbean. And honestly, before they came to the U.S., that was where the biggest British stronghold was in the Caribbean, which is also why they were able to grow bananas so well, because the climate is a lot closer to, again, the areas, whether it be West Africa, Papua New Guinea, where bananas would have originated from. So they talk about how it's very likely that the banana ended up coming to the U.S. by way of the Caribbean. And it also talks about, again, how slavery in the way that it's known now came to the U.S. by way of the Caribbean as well. Like I said, this book, it's some deep stuff in this book. It's some deep stuff in this book. And I actually talked about on my social media how I have really kind of stayed away from historical books for a while because of the political work that I've done. They can be very triggering to me. So even with this book, I'm like really pacing myself and like touching base with myself about how I'm receiving this information and making sure that it's not like pulling me down or nothing like that, because it's such rich history and I want to know it, but I also just want to be aware of like my mental health by being able to read this book, because it's some heavy stuff in here. Like, obviously a lot of our food story, unfortunately, comes through the history of slavery as well. But it's also been interesting to hear her talk about, like, one, obviously food before slavery, African food before slavery, and how it influenced the food that we eat today. And then also like the times of self-determination where Black people actually use like food. So she talks about how on the hierarchy of slaves, which like for whatever this is worth, but it was something that I guess I had never thought about. On the hierarchy of slaves, you know how they say like the house slaves, quote unquote, were the more favored slaves, so to speak, as opposed to field slaves. And she actually has an interesting take on this as well, which is like, that may have been true, but at the same time, the slaves that worked in the field, they also had an off time. Like, they might do back-breaking work and be up sun up to sundown, but at some point they still went home and were able to like have time away from their work, as opposed to house slaves. A lot of times she talks about how they always had to be there for whatever the slave owners wanted or needed at the certain time. And so she talks about how, some of them would actually have to sleep over in the house. So just in case the enslaver wanted something, like they would be there to hear them. So they would like have to sit at the door basically and just wait to see if they needed anything. So that was an interesting take that I had never heard before. But she also talks about how, so in the house, the most favored slaves were the slaves, the most favored enslaved people were the people who cooked. And so they were, very much favored, and they got a lot of privileges, so to speak, that some of the other enslaved people may not have had. And one of the things that's interesting that she talks about to me is that I never thought about it. How they would say enslaved person could buy their freedom. And I would always be like, how did they buy their freedom? Where did they get the money from? Because if you enslaved, you working for free. So that's why I'm like, where did they get the money from? But she talks about in this how some of the top chefs, a lot of times they would be able to take food from the kitchen and then go sell it after work, and it would be leftover food. So it wasn't like they were, quote unquote, I guess, stealing from their enslaver, even though ain't no such thing as stealing from an enslaver. But nonetheless, she talks about how some of the most popular cooks ended up making enough money on the side. Or it would even be times where, how when we talked about the collard greens, they had their own gardens. And so it might be times where they would grow things in their gardens that some of the enslavers would actually purchase from them. Again, this is what the book said. And again, I'm sure she did enough research to confirm that. That being said, I'm sure it was some enslavers that took things from the garden as well, but neither here nor there. And then also the enslaved people actually created their own markets during the time of slavery. Before emancipation, they created their own markets where, again, if they were growing things in their own garden, they would prepare different things and go sell it at the market. Or remember we talked about how fishing, they could just go and get them a fish, or hunting was the same thing. People who did fishing and hunting, they would then take things to the market as well and sell them. And so it was really interesting to hear how even during enslaved times, obviously we know this, of course, when we hear about rebellions, we know that that's one part of it, but also this economic piece that I have never heard about before in my life. But the idea that people use food as a way to sell things in order to get enough money to buy their own freedom or buy a loved one's freedom. So this was very interesting. And again, just thinking about that type of existence across the colonies, so from north to south. And again, not thinking about it, but just how she talked about what slavery and indentured servitude, which, again, I wasn't necessarily aware of that, but she also does speak to the point of that some of the first larger groups of Africans actually came to the U.S. as indentured servants. And that was kind of their way of getting to the U.S. Now, my understanding is that most of them came as enslaved people. But again, I'm sure the research shows that did happen in some examples. But yeah, it's just interesting, hearing about how that way of slavery or way of servitude changed over the years and how the British had such a big impact on it. But the reason I brought that up is because, Philadelphia was one of the first spaces in the North to abolish slavery. And then from there, I guess it just became more popular amongst the North. And unfortunately, it died very hard in the South. And obviously, we know even after emancipation, there were many people, honestly, who just kept their slaves because, we know that Juneteenth is a product of them not telling the slaves. And it wasn't until some of the Civil War soldiers ended up coming and telling them that they had been free. And then, of course, we know about contract leasing and sharecropping and stuff like that. And also the prison industrial system that has continued slavery even until today. So yeah, we could go even deeper into that, but we're going to stay on the topic at hand once again. But yeah, this book is really shaping my mind about a lot of things. And I'll be honest with y'all too. Like personally, I feel like I never really connected much with my enslaved history. I think it was probably something that I never just really wanted to think about that much. And I also always grew up knowing that my biological father, even though I wasn't raised with him, he and his family are considered royalty of a such in Nigeria. They come from a royal lineage. And so he goes by Prince. And so that was something that my mother always instilled in me from an early age. Like, even though I didn't have a relationship with him, like, that's something that she always talked to me about. And so something about me just always connected with, like, my African ancestry more. It's very weird. Like, I wasn't raised by them, but I always felt this closer connection. And, that is a part of our history. And it's so funny because, there are people who will say, well, everybody's royalty in Africa. And to a certain extent they are, but also there are people who are not. And I think for me, what is most important is like more of the lineage. Because like for me, my grandmother is the person who was actually a princess, which is how my father ended up becoming a prince. And his sisters would be princesses as well. So my father's dad is actually a chief. And so technically, I guess that would be a lower standard than prince or princess. But also there are a lot of things about like where the different families are located. They kind of talk about like how important things are as well. It's a bunch of stuff that honestly I don't even really understand. I'm learning a lot of that history and look forward to learning a lot more of it too. But either way, my grandfather on my paternal side was a chief. My grandmother on my paternal side was a princess. And she actually married to my grandfather. But the thing that I think is more powerful to me, I mean, yes, it's notable, should I say, that we come from like this royalty, but let me say this, I have a higher amount of respect for my ancestors in general. And I think that there are things about my paternal grandmother's story that I don't know and I won't say may never know, because I'm gonna put it in the air that I will know, but just about her power as a woman. And my grandfather has a very rich history in the independence of Nigeria. And so even though, he was this chief and things like that, I think to me, what I find most important is the fact that he put it on the line for his people. Like a lot of times when we think about royalty, it's this idea of like, we're up here and, everybody else is down there. And obviously that's a very Western view of royalty as well. But, to have this high status where, in some ways, I don't know what it was like, but I would imagine in some ways that those statuses would have given someone some level of privilege, but, he still put it on the line and was like, we doing freedom work. And so that I think is what is really most notable. Obviously, again, that's from my US born context. I'm sure my Nigerian family might see it completely different, and I respect it. And like I said, look forward to knowing more about that as well and knowing more about the significance. But personally, what I connect more with is the idea that we were about revolutionary work. That being said, this cooking journey that I have been on has really connected me more with my enslaved history. And it's really interesting because I would even hear people that would talk about how they would go to, what are those things called? They would go to like plantations and do plantation tours. And it was always something that I was just like, I don't never want to go to nothing like that. Like, I don't think that we should be walking through former plantations. Like, I don't know, something about that just never really sat right with me. And even like when I went to Nigeria and when I went to Ghana, like I didn't want to go to the slave castles. Like, I don't want to see nothing like that because that type of history like enrages me so much. And now reading this book and the work that I've been doing with the cooking, I'm just like, I don't know if I will ever go. I'm not saying I won't go, but a part of me also does feel like I do want to go to those places to like put my feet where my ancestors had their feet and just give honor to the sacrifice that they made so that we could be here today. Like what they endured is just unthinkable, you know? And I've been thinking about this so much, but it's just the idea that they had to have believed that there would be a day where Black people would be free. Because if you wake up every day and you think that there is no hope, that you're only going to be an enslaved person for the rest of your life, I don't see how they could have did that. I don't see how they could have woke up every day thinking this is going to be my life, my children's life, my children's life for the rest of our existence. I truly believe, and this is, some of the spiritual work that I've experienced as well, is just believing that they had to have envisioned themselves free. They had to have envisioned their children free. And that is probably what kept them more than anything. And I'm just have such a gratitude for that. Like, I just have such a gratitude for them sticking it out. And I understand the ones that didn't. We know a lot of stories that people who jumped ship. And I'm sure there are even more stories about people who, unfortunately did whatever they did from living on plantation life. And obviously we know the ancestors that just got up out the jam, and created free nations and things like that. And this book talks about that too, specifically in the Caribbean, but they talk about it a little bit too, about how in the US, similar communities were created, and especially, they would link up with the native people and just become a part of their tribes and things like that. And there's some other really important discussion in here about the solidarity between Africans and indigenous Native Americans. And also how when the Europeans saw that, they tried to do more to kind of create more separation between Africans and Native Americans. But we know those stories. We know about the rebellion stories. We know that there are many different type of ways that Black people resisted enslavement. And for the ones that stuck it out, I'm thankful for them too. I'm thankful for them and their belief that one day we would be free. And, freedom is a complicated term. Freedom is a very complicated term, but nonetheless, we are not shackled. We are not in physical shackles. And again, we can't even go too deep on that because, again, thinking about people in prison. But nonetheless, I'm just thankful. That's the moral of the story, is that I'm thankful. And also, again, keeping our folks who are shackled in mind too, and lifting them up. And, people have all kind of ideas and thoughts about criminality. Me, personally, I think that calling somebody a criminal on stolen land doesn't make sense. I also think that calling somebody criminal on a land that you kidnap people and kill people for doesn't make sense. But, at the end of the day, I also want us all to be safe, and safety looks like a bunch of different things as well. So I'm just going to cut this short because, again, I could go all day about that. But I do want to say I am thinking about the people who are shackled up right now. So, y'all, it's a lot. It's just a lot going on. But when I thought about banana pudding, the real life... Oh, before I even talk about that, I want to talk about how... we talk about the origins, and then we also know that fried plantains is very big throughout the diaspora. So in Nigerian culture, Yoruba culture, but honestly, I know Igbo people and a bunch of other of the tribes, because it's so many different tribes in Nigeria, but so many of the other tribes in Nigeria also eat plantains as well. And of course, throughout West Africa, and I'm sure many other parts of Africa as well. Of course, throughout the Caribbean, fried plantains is very big. I've also seen boiled plantains, which I've never tried before, because I think that's just more of an acquired taste, but I have seen people eat it. And then there also are a bunch of dishes that are the plantains may be either fried or boiled, but then they're used to make a completely different dish. And so I know in like Latin America, they have dishes called mofongo. And I believe, let me say, I believe that comes from Puerto Rico, but I'm sure there are many other countries that create mofongo as well. I've also seen tostones, which is another fried version, but I think they use the more like unripened plantains for that, and they kind of smash it and put like a little salt and maybe some lime on it. I've had that at a Cuban restaurant, but I also believe that it's a dish that is served in like, I believe maybe Colombia, Puerto Rico as well. And I saw another one. I wrote it down. I think it's called Durantes. Y'all, charge it to my head and not my heart, please. Okay, let me see. No, I don't know what I was talking about. Maduros, that's what it's called. Another dish called Maduros. And again, these are all in Latin America. So that also talked about how popular it was among the diaspora, other African people as well. So what I wanted to connect it to for my life experiences is friendship. And I will start this off by saying that I'm honestly still processing a lot of stuff about friendship. So I want y'all to bear with me. Like, we're going to go through this together. And you know, I've talked about this a lot on my social media. And to be honest, I'm sure people are actually even tired of hearing it. But, you know, again, I'm still processing it. I'm still in process about friendships. And because I'm an only child, like I was raised as an only child, let me say that. I actually do have two sisters, one here in the U.S. and one that was born in Nigeria. But I was raised as an only child. And so friends have always been really big for me as well, because I told y'all this too. I'm like the youngest in my generation. So all of my cousins were a lot older than me. So the people that I connected most with growing up were like not necessarily family. They were friends. And I always was really good at making friends. Like, you know, what's not to love? So I always like had a bunch of friends and stuff like that. And obviously, like I've had different ups and downs with friends throughout the years. Like sometimes you just realize that, you know, just not compatible. Moving on. But I also have had a lot of heartbreak from friends as well. And some of the stuff wasn't even important stuff, but it was more so just like the principle of the matter. Like, I ain't expect you to move like that. Like, I ain't expect you to move like that. Like, this was something simple, but I ain't expect you to move like that. But the story in this case that I wanted to talk about, because what was coming to my mind when I said that was how, like, one time, me and my friends from college, we all decided that we was going to get an apartment together, which was like bad idea from the beginning. But nonetheless, it seemed like a good idea at the time. So we was moving off campus. We all want to get to that. And I'm at an internship and get a call that one of the people who we in our friend group decided that she wasn't going to stay with us, that she was going to stay with another one of her friends. And like in the grand scheme of things, that wasn't nothing important, but it still just made me be like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? And I don't know. I think maybe because my internship was so stressful, it just really made this into a big deal that, like, now that I think back on it, it really wasn't a big deal. Like, it was a little funny movement. And I mean, to be honest, we was young. Like, it's not something that I hold a grudge against now because, you know, we was young. We all grown now. We completely different people. But at the time, it was such a big deal to me. And it's interesting because the thing that concerned me the most was the thing that actually ended up happening. We ended up living with somebody. The first person we ended up living with was somebody that we didn't know, a random person that they put in an apartment. And honestly, I just feel like so much of our friendship went downhill with the introduction of that extra person, which is like everything happens for a reason. So it's like, obviously she was meant to come into that space for a reason. But I just remember it like changed our friend group dynamic so bad to the point where by the next semester, like all three of the other people that I was living with, they didn't even live there no more. Like I was by myself at that point. And then that's when I ended up getting 3 exchange students who were from China that I lived with that year. And it was so funny because in a lot of ways, I had way more peace once they came in because it wasn't like, I didn't know them. So it wasn't like, it was like they lived their life, I lived my life. I came in and out. I was crossing that semester. So it was like they barely saw me anyway. I barely saw them. And there were a few cultural differences where I was like, okay, y'all. And I'm sure they looked at me like, this girl. But by and large, we got along so well. And they were just like really sweet people. Like they were really sweet people. And I ain't gonna say too much, but I'm sure a lot of it had to do with the fact that they just wasn't born in America. But they just was like really sweet people. And it also taught me a lot about like Chinese culture and like how, you know, for lack of better words, cultural it is, and like how they would come together and eat together and like have the big pot and stuff like that. I will also say that it was a bunch of stuff that they cooked. Like I never saw not one thing that we got from a Chinese restaurant that they cooked. Like everything they cooked was something I had never seen before, which also put in my mind like, then what the heck are y'all feeding us? Which like, you know, every culture for the most part Americanizes their food in order so that it's palatable to us so that we'll buy it. But that was like one of the biggest things that I would always reflect on of like, I never saw them cook anything that we would get from a Chinese store. Every now and then I'll still go to a Chinese store, but, yeah, no, they never cooked anything that I realized, but either way, so that was that whole situation. Then, okay, y'all, so okay, so 2023, I'm trying to think, was there anything that happened in 22 before this? It probably was. But 2022, I feel like I had a good friend year that year. And this is also what I want to say about friends. It's like, I remember when I was still married, and I think it was because of the pandemic or what, I don't know. But like the depression started hitting me bad, and I started to feel so isolated. Like, and I think that's also part of the reason why I clung to my ex, because I was like, oh, this is the only person that I have. Forgetting that in reality, I actually had a huge group of friends and like support system and family and things like that. And it wasn't until we got married and everybody came, and we did not even have a real wedding. Like we had a courthouse wedding, and still like so many people came to celebrate with us. And it like clicked to me like, what? I actually do have a bunch of people who love me and are here for me. And so that was a big part for me too of like finding the strength to leave a situation that I knew was unhealthy for me. Was like, no, like I do have people, I do have support. This is not the only person that I have. So I leaned a lot into like community, especially coming out of that relationship. So 2022, I feel like it was a good friend year. It was a really good friend year. Now, I don't know what the universe is like, girl, we is about to shake everything up. We about to shake it up because 2023 was like my worst friend year ever. Like I've never fell out with so many people in such a short amount of time. And I'm talking about like nasty fallouts. Like I will never speak to you again type of fallouts. Like you got to see me type of fallouts. Like seriously. And I'm going to say this, I'm not even no fighter. Like I mean what I say and I say what I mean, but I've only been in one fight in my life. One fight. And even that was an accident. But nonetheless, I'll tell y'all that story on a different episode. But it's some people that like, you know, for the sake of incriminating myself, I'm going to leave it at that. But nonetheless, it's some nasty breakups, okay? So this is one of them. And we're going to get into a little bit of story time. And I'm going to try to keep it as cute as possible because the goal of me talking about this is not even to like talk bad on people. Because honestly, I'm at a point now where it's like, it's still some hurt in there, but I've moved past a lot of it. And I also see the person that I've become now that I have had to spend so much time alone. So I understand, like I literally see the purpose in these things happening the way that they did. I just hate that they had to happen the way that they did. But back to story time. Okay. So one of my friends, and I've been friends with these people since grammar school. Okay. Elementary school. Like y'all know the character Susie from Rugrats. Like we looked like Susie when we met. Like we had the braids. You know what I'm saying? Like real like homies type of deal, okay? So we've been knowing each other. One of the people in our group decided that she wanted to celebrate her birthday in Atlanta. Okay. I had not been to Atlanta in a long time, but I was excited to go. I was excited to like just travel because I love traveling. So I was excited to go. It's birthday vibes. Like we about to turn up. Like I'm just like, what could go wrong on this trip? Like this is my thought. Like it could only be good energy on this trip. So I know a lot of friends and family in Atlanta. So I was like, okay, I'm going to come down a few days early, like chop it up with my cousins. Cause I ended up seeing my cousins like a couple weeks before the trip that I had not seen in forever. And I had some other things going on in other spaces that just had my mood really down. And when I see my cousins, it just made me feel so good. Like it brought back that energy because I hadn't seen them in so long, but we like spent a lot of time together as kids. These are my cousins on my daddy's side, who not my biological daddy, but my daddy. And so we also had like, those were honestly the cousins that I grew up with. Like it's so weird when I think about it now. Like those are my cousins that I grew up with, but they moved to Atlanta a long time ago. So we separated, and then I seen them and the energy just felt so good. Like, and I was like, okay, I want to go spend some time with them. And I was telling them I was coming. They was like, you got to stay with us. And I was like, okay, I'm going to just come early, spend time with y'all. So then when I go to the birthday festivities, like I'm locked into the birthday festivities. Okay. So I did that. And then I also have a lot of college friends there too, and like line sisters and stuff. So I'm like, when I go places, I hit people up because I'm like, I want to see my people. Like one of my pet peeves is when people come to Chicago and they don't hit me up, because it's like, I got you. But it's okay. It's okay. People be having all kinds of stuff going on. It's a big world. People be getting trips in between. So not a big deal. But the point is that when I travel to places, I at least like to hit people up and like see them. So I hit my line sisters up. I ended up seeing a few of them. I had a good friend who was a biology major with me that I saw while I was there too. So, I'm like, trying to fit everything in. I was not the most organized. So a lot of people actually, I didn't get to tell that I was coming until I was actually there. So then it became this thing of me trying to fit in, seeing people deeper into my trip than I expected to. But nonetheless, I reached out to them. They wanted to make time. I'm like, okay, we're going to do it. So the group that I was going for the birthday with had a whole itinerary. Like literally, I don't think it was no naps in there. And that's the other thing about me. Anybody that travel with me know, I'm going to get a nap. I don't care what's going on. Y'all could go do whatever you need to do. I'm going to get a nap. Okay. So there were these things, and there was some stuff on there that I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to, because like one of them was going to the outlets. I'm not a shopper. Like if I need something, I'll go get it, but I don't just be like lollygagging around stores. So that's not my thing. So I'm like, okay, well, cool. During this time, I'm gonna go see one of the other people that I was trying to link up with, And I told them this when I came. So of course, with everything on the itinerary, things started getting knocked off of the itinerary because it was so full and there was no real breaks planned in there or whatever. So the very first event that I went to with the birthday group, I was late to. And I gave a forewarning that I was going to be late, okay? If nothing else, I'm going to communicate. It's very rarely that I'm going to be late to something and not communicate like, hey, I'm running late. When I said I was running late, the group decided to push back the brunch for like an hour or something like that. And I'm like, this became a reoccurring problem that I, in my mind, and I also communicate, I said, hey, don't change no plans for me. I'm going to see y'all when I get there. Like, don't change plans for me. Like, it's not my birthday. Like, don't accommodate me, which I do understand. Like, yes, I appreciate you for trying to accommodate me. But also during this time frames, again, because of the stress I was going through in other areas, I'm literally on my own time. Like, I'm literally in my own space. And everything in my life is around me creating peace for myself and me creating space for myself, where it's not like I'm trying to like catch up with people or fall into what other people are doing. My demeanor at this point is like, is Joan okay? Like, my priority right now is Joan, because I have stressed myself out so bad trying to like be everything for everybody else that it's like I'm my priority right now. So obviously this is where things start to become an issue. So I show up late, and I didn't tell nobody in the group this. Because again, in my mind, I'm like, this show is not about me. Like me, I'm my own focus. But at the end of the day, we're here for somebody else's birthday. So I'm not about to come in with my bad news. I literally found out that I was fired like 3 minutes before I walked into the birthday brunch. Literally 3 minutes. I checked my account, and that's how I found out that I was fired. Now, granted, there were threats being made that, it would happen, but I didn't know for sure until that very moment, 3 minutes before I walked in. But, we here for a birthday. I'm here now. Like, I'm about to come in and turn up with everybody. I got cute, It's negative energy as soon as I come into the brunch. And mind you, it probably was because I was late, but at the same time, like, everybody here done ate. Y'all done had drinks. What is anybody upset about? Y'all done ate, drank, birthday cake done came out. Like, what are people upset about? But nonetheless, I come in. And then again, if anybody had the right to be upset, it's me. I just found that I got fired. But nonetheless, I come in, I come good energy, At this time, I was using herbal medicine. So I come and I was using something, it looks like it's a white powder, okay? But you mix it with water. Somebody made like a Coke joke, which I'm like already like, when they said it, they said like, oh, it's something for energy, like, and was like real snippy about it. And I was like, actually it is, because it's a vitamin B. It's called inositol. Like, it actually does help with energy. But I still understood like what the energy that was coming from about it. And again, I didn't play. I played it off because this is not my birthday. I'm not here to be getting into it with people, friends. Like, this is a vacation. Okay. I mixed my little supplement. I drank it. I ordered me some food, ordered me a drink. Like, I'm like in the vibes. Like, I'm really like, okay, cool. Everybody, it's bad energy. Like, it's bad energy. And it's really the group, because there's a whole nother thing, like drama going on between other friends in the group. And it's like, literally, if I could sum all of the whole trip up in one like description, it would be the Housewives. Like, literally, Housewives of Atlanta was the energy that was given. Like, weird beef about nothing, or at least what was nothing to me, but like also like, I'm gonna keep it cute, but I'm gonna keep it cute. So that whole thing happened. Then that same person, later on, like, I got my food, whatever. So later on, we had this whole situation where the two people was beefing about something else. So me and the other person who ended up saying something smart to me about my inositol, vitamin B, we was standing next to each other. We was talking about zodiacs. That person was a Pisces. I'm a Cancer. I said, oh, we gonna have a love-hate relationship. They said, oh, my boyfriend is a Cancer, and we don't have them type of problems. Like, like, we don't have no problems. And I said, that's exactly what I'm talking about right there. Like, ain't gonna be no problem, but it's just gonna be a love-hate relationship. And walked off. But at this point, this is like the second encounter that we've had. And I'm like, now you on my nerve. Like, now you on my nerve. You are now on my nerve. And it is best for me to take some space away from this group because it's drama. And I don't want to be caught up in it. Like, again, self-preservation. Like, my mental health is the most important thing right now. And y'all not about to F it up. So I told her, I'm like, hey, I wasn't planning on coming to the shopping part, but they ended up canceling the shopping part. So now it's like, I'm cutting out on the group. And I'm like, oh, I had already made plans during that time where y'all said y'all was going shopping. But I was like, but let me know when y'all get to the next place and I'll let you know if I'm going to make it or not. But then me and this other person have a second tiff. And I'm like, nah, I just need some space away from the group. So I ended up going on about my business. Come to find out, they get to the second place and waiting for me. And I'm like, why are y'all waiting for me? I said I may come. Let me know when y'all get there. And then I say, I'm already planning something. So it's like I may or may not be coming anyway. Again, as y'all can see, me not being a group is starting to become an issue. And this is just the first two things. But anyway, so coming back to this whole story, or this part of the story, it was something else that happened during that time. It'll come back to me. But anyway, this is what happened. So then, because of all of this drama that's going on, and then it come to find out, because me and one of my mutual friends that the three of us went to grammar school together, we were supposed to be staying at the birthday friend's house. Then come to find out, all these other people staying there too. So then it became this question like, okay, so this is a 1-bedroom apartment. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's starting to feel very like grammar school sleepover vibes. And I'm like, okay, we thought it was just gonna be the three of us, not knowing that it's like 5, 6 people, gonna be staying in the same space. So I'm like, listen, my cousins, like, I could just stay with them. Like, I keep calling the mutual friend, which again, this is also part of the problem. Asking her, like, hey, are you still gonna stay there? Because she knew people in the area too. So I'm like, okay, well, in my mind, I'm thinking we could just stay at our mutuals and then come back to the group. But I'm also like, well, I'm your mutual there, so I'm not gonna leave you by yourself. This is where the real problem came into be at. I'm not gonna leave you by yourself. So if you gonna stay there, I'm gonna stay there. But are you gonna stay there? Because I really, want to go stay with my cousins again. But nonetheless, she said she was gonna stay there, so I stuck it out. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna be there with you. And my mind thinking, like, I'm not gonna leave you there by yourself. Even though we had the mutual friend there whose birthday it was, but y'all know how friend group dynamics can be. So that ended up being where the problem then lied. So then when I was late to the brunch, I ended up leaving my suitcase at my cousin's house because I was like, well, I don't have enough time to pack. I'm gonna be even more late. So I'm just leave this, come back and get it. So I meet up with 2 people in that time. And I'm gonna be honest with you, at that point, I'm like taking my space because also, again, this is on top of finding out that I had been fired, on top of getting into it with her friends. I'm also having issues with my cycle. This is the first day my cycle comes on. And I'm having very heavy bleeding that I've never had before. So now I'm also having time where I have to go stop at a bathroom to fix myself and fix my situation. And again, these are not things that I'm talking to anybody about because it's not my show. It's not my birthday. And also, I should not have to tell you these things in order for you to be a decent human being. Like that's the majority of it. But anyways, so even when I left the brunch spot, I had to go run into a bathroom in another spot because unfortunately I was bleeding really badly. Then I had the same situation. I went and met up with another friend. Had to run to the bathroom during that part because I was bleeding really bad. So now I have to go back, and which like I probably would have took a shower anyway, but now I have to take a shower. I'm running late. Now I have to take another shower because I'm having all of these situations. Nonetheless, take my shower, get dressed. Now it's time to meet y'all at the club. But I had to then go home and have a shower. And I had to pack my stuff because at this point I'm like, well, let me just pack my stuff and go stay with them so that tomorrow I'll be there in the morning. We're not going to have no issues. I'm going to get up bright and early, get dressed, and be ready for all the festivities for the next day. So, of course, I make it to the club late. There's still negative energy. Now, y'all, this is where things start to turn. This is where I start to, like, really be like, okay. Unbeknownst to me, they're about to leave. And even before I get there, I literally text my friend, was like, hey, it's your weekend. We're here for you. Like, don't get caught up in what's everybody else going on. Like, we're here for you. We on your page. You make the moves that you want to move. You do the things that you want to do. And we going to have to fall in line. This is what I'm telling her. Like, understanding that I'm one of the people that's going to have to fall in line. Like, girl, if you want to do something, do it. Wherever you at during that time is where I'm going to meet you at. So unbeknownst to me, they were about to leave as I was coming to the club. Nobody told me. So then it became this whole thing of like, oh, we had to wait for you. Da 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 da. No, I been told you not to wait for me. I been told you, like, I'm just going to meet y'all wherever y'all gonna be. But nonetheless, I get in. Now the energy is bad in the club. Like, if you can't go to Bella Noche's, where can you go? Like, I don't want to be in the club with y'all nasty attitudes like this. Like, first of all, I get in there and I'm cute because I'm on vacation. Like, yes, I'm cute, but I'm still giving the energy to my friend whose birthday it is. I'm like, oh, like, giving her energy. She looks so cute. Like, go off, sis. What I was wearing became an issue. Cool, no problem. Then one of her friends ended up coming up to me talking about, and mind you, most of the issues that I had were with her male queer friends. So y'all know the energy that they come in with. They put a little sauce on it. You know what I'm saying? And I think the way there's like this competition a lot of times between queer men and I would say in the Black community. I'm sure it's in every other community too. I just don't spend enough time around everybody else to know. But it be like this competitive energy, like, and I love the queer people. I really do. Like, I love and be going to bat for people. Like, you know what I'm saying? I have had to battle through homophobia because of the sexual experiences that I've had because of church, things like that. I've had to battle through homophobia, but in general, I love the community. I'm here for the community. I celebrate the community. And I have to say this literally to people, and I understand like people come with their guards up already because they just assume that they're going to get backlash from people. But I have to literally say like, hey, I support you. I celebrate you. Nonetheless, one of her queer male friends comes up to me and is like, he said, oh, you Joanne? And I was like, yeah, I'm Joan. He's like, oh, you a late B. You like to be late. You a late B. Keeping it cute. I kept it cute. I said, yeah, but you knew who I was when I got here. Turned him right on around, went on about our business. But then I go talk to our mutual friend and I'm like, is this how they been the whole night? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, weird, nasty energy. Like, I just want to come in, get my fuzzy navel with some Tito's in it and go about my business. Like, I just don't like bad energy. I really don't like bad energy. And when I'm in a bad mood, I tell people like, okay, it's me. Like, it's me. Like, I apologize. I don't want you to feel no type of way. I'm the one with the nasty attitude right now. But nonetheless, this whole thing happened. We ended up going back to the birthday girl's place. I don't know why this same person that told me I was a late female dog had the nerve to be like making a scene. Was like, okay, so what the way to start off is that they was talking about another person that had came out. And then he said something like, basically like, ain't nobody got a problem with me, basically. Okay. They said this was my fault, but I do not take responsibility for this because I tried to be cute about it again and again, like the benefit of the doubt. And this be my problem. This is what my therapist be telling me about. I give people too much of a benefit of a doubt. And I knew that already. Like, I say things about cancers is that everybody love to say cancers are crazy. And then I be like, cancers have a very long fuse, but when you get to the end of it, yes, it's really bad. It gets really bad. And so this is my problem that I'm recovering from. I'm recovering benefit of the doubt giver. Still trying to keep it cute. This man talking about ain't nobody got no problems with me, da 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 da. I said, I'm walking, talking to myself, taking things out of my suitcase. I said, Joan, don't say nothing. This man gonna turn to me, talking about if anybody has anything to say, like, open your throat chakras, like, let it out. Why did he say that? Lord? Why did he say that? Okay, so when he said that, I'm like, well, first of all, and I'm like, this is when I say I started speaking Spanglish, and I don't even speak Spanish, because I'm like, numero uno, you don't know me. Numero doso, or dose, something that just don't even make no sense. And like at the closest, I think I might have been actually saying 12, but I was trying to say 2. And I know that dose is how you say 2, but I was just so like to the brim at this point that I couldn't even like figure out how to count from 1 to 3. But either way, I said numero doso. I'm not your B, and I never will be. And I think I said numero tres and can't figure out what's there next, but just very much like, stay in your place. Don't talk to me like you know me, because you don't know me. You know my friend. You my friend's friends. And granted, even if you call yourself trying to stand up for her, that is an adult conversation that me and her need to have. You don't know me, okay? You don't know me. You really don't know me. And why would you say something to me? Because now I'm on your tail. Now you could get it. But I digress. So, that situation ended up like it was really nasty. Like by the time I finished, it was very nasty. The boy just went in the room and like went to sleep by that point. The birthday friend was like, just go in the room, and I was like, yeah, I would advise you to do that. Like, I would advise you to do that, because now you got me hot. I kept it cute with you at the club. I kept it cute with you when I said I wasn't gonna say nothing. Now you said open throat chakras. Okay, it's my throat chakra wide open. Let's go. And now you look silly. You look like an adult child, and we didn't have to go there. But nonetheless. So that situation happened. We end up going to sleep. But even before that, they start trying to gang up on me. And it became one of those trips of like, the person that we about to gang up on. And give me a minute. I'm about to go get me something to drink. Because my throat is dry. Okay, we back. So, then that night, they come. So after that situation, I guess they felt bad for him. And then it became one of those trips where they thinking like, I'm about to be the person that's the butt of all the jokes. And I'm about to be the person that everybody gang up on. No, baby. No. I will fight everybody in this room. I will go to war with everybody in this room before I ever let y'all try to bully me. And granted, again, past drama, I'm coming out of a space where people was also trying to do this to me to the point where I'm just like, let's go. Like, I'm like, that's my energy. Like, I will keep it cute and calm with people until you really push me. And now it's like, let's go. So this particular night, they like making jokes. I forgot, cause okay, I took my wig off. I don't care. Like, I look good. We just talked about this last episode. I look good no matter what my hair looks like. I'm just a beautiful woman. I don't care if I take this off and you see my Sealy braids, my Meek Mill braids. I still look good. I do. It is what it is. So then they start trying to go in on me talking about I have Cleo braids. And okay. To the point where they're reenacting the scene where she gets shot. Like, y'all really going in. Y'all really trying to, like, take it there with me. Y'all really trying to take it there with me. So, I'm starting making jokes back. Now, again, now I'm the bad guy again. So, the birthday celebrants had finger waves. Okay, now I'm about to call you Big Red. Let's go. You look like Big Red. Everybody's like, oh, I don't know. No, you know exactly who Big Red is. Okay, you sitting up there with that perm, looking like Big Red with them finger waves in your hair. And I'm gonna be cool on the finger waves. I'm gonna be cool on the finger waves because a good finger wave will still like eat anybody up. Like a good finger wave will still eat anybody up. And at the same time, it's 2023, sis. Why would you go get finger waves for your birthday? Anyways, we end up going to sleep. The next day, again, I brought all of my stuff. I get up early. I shower. I pray. But mind you, I have my routine going on. I don't care. I don't care where I am. I could be in Antarctica and I'm still going to do my morning routine. I'm still going to get up, listen to my music, go pray, get myself together, meditate for the day ahead. So that's what I did. And people had a problem with me playing my music. Mind you, everybody's up. Everybody's up and I'm getting dressed. I need my music to get dressed. I don't have no headphones. I can't move around with my headphones. This later on becomes an issue, but at the time, I don't know what's going on. Nobody has said anything about me playing my music, but again, everybody's up. But it's gospel music, everybody don't want to hear that. I get it, I understand. I didn't want to hear it at times too, but nonetheless, I'm here playing my music. I'm dressed. Like, yeah, the main issue that everybody had with me, I'm not there, I'm not present, I'm dressed. These Negroes decide they want to get up and lounge for the day. So y'all done made all this noise about me not showing up to stuff. And then I'm here ready to show up. And y'all kicking it at the house. Now, mind you, it was raining outside. I understand people get a little jittery when the rain come out. But we're on vacation. Y'all done had this big itinerary. We need to do something. Mind you, she went and got some food for us to snack on. But it's not meal food. So I'm up like, okay, we about to go eat. We about to go to brunch. They tell me, oh no, we just gonna wait and go to dinner. But mind you, they not actually saying this. They just saying like, we about to just be sitting here for some time. Okay, well, I'm about to run to Target because I didn't have any tea on me, and tea is a part of my morning routine that I have. So, okay, I'm about to run to Target, get me some tea. And since we haven't eaten, I'm about to go get me something to eat. This therein lies becomes the next problem because I'm not sitting around with them at the house. I don't even like y'all. I don't even like y'all. I don't even want to be around y'all. I don't want to be next to y'all. Like, no, I don't want to just sit at the house with y'all. And that, it honestly wasn't even my goal not to sit at the house with them. It was like, okay, I'm dressed. I'm about to go run, get me some tea, give me some. I literally stopped long enough to order macaroni and cheese and eat it. I get back that this is now the next topic that everybody wants to talk about. Oh, where you been at? Where you? Okay. Now it's time to go to the restaurant. Go to the restaurant. There are things that I won't bore y'all with during the trip to the restaurant, but just know, folks is on my nerves again. Folks is on my nerves. I asked everybody, and this is the one part I will say, I asked everybody when we got into the car, what do y'all want to hear? Because I know what I like to listen to, but I also like to accommodate people because everybody don't want to hear what I hear. So yes, at 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm listening to Every Praise is for Our God. By 4 o'clock, what homegirl say when you get into this car, you are a gangster or thug or something, whatever it is. But either way, I'm listening to Sexy Red. Like, we're riding out. That's what I want to listen to. So before I start playing that, what y'all want to hear? Nah, whatever you want to play. I say, okay, because I'm about to play Sexy Red. And then you complaining about the music. Then the other person in the passenger seat with me, like, low-key dancing, but trying to act stuck up because the person in the back complaining about the music. Nobody here, y'all are all nuts. Y'all are all nuts, and I'm about to turn my music up because, again, like, at this point, I'm doing all the sound therapy that I can do with this little group. So we get there, the dinner is cool. It's still a few, like, little things that's getting on my nerves, but for the most part, dinner is fine. But I had another group of people who I did not get to see, and if things were more copacetic with the group, I would have stayed. But, like, I'm not in a rush to be around y'all. I don't want to be around y'all. Y'all, the attitudes is nasty. Everything is a problem. Like, I just didn't have it in me. I didn't have it in me. So I went to go see the other group. Went, kicked it with them. I thought I was going to meet the birthday group out for do karaoke. By the time I got to karaoke, they was gone. We made it back to the house. I guess at this point they had, and this is the thing that I hate, and I can always tell when people are chitter-chattering with each other about anything, but especially me, because everybody starts to sound alike, say the same stuff, get on the same page, and it's just very clear. So then I get there. Now they was watching the movie before I came in. Now I'm the center of attention. Everything that I do is the center of attention. Y'all watching the movie. Why y'all worry about me? Why is anybody worried about me? We're all here together. We're lounging at the house at this point. This is what people want to. Everybody wants to lounge at the house together. I'm here lounging at the house with y'all. That's not good enough. So after enough people have said something to me, when I walk back in this house, I start playing music again. My playlist that I posted about my, like, Rise Up playlist, I start playing this because I'm like, y'all are on my nerves really bad and I need to find me some grounding, so I'm going to play this. One of our mutual friends turned around to my son, why are you playing that music? I said, because they were watching something suspenseful too. I said, because I don't watch, y'all are watching suspenseful TV. I don't watch that. I'm doing what I like to do, which is listen to music. You listen to the. I say, y'all are watching suspenseful TV. I don't watch that. I'm listening to my music because that's what I like to do. Now, y'all done already got on my last good nerve. And y'all know, I ain't really got no good nerves. Like, I really don't got no good nerves. So you on the last kind of good nerve. And I've yet to lash out. I've yet to, like, really go in on nobody. Except for the one that told me to open my throat chakra. I've yet to really give it to anybody. Now y'all about to get it. So now I'm playing my music and the birthday person tells me to leave. Kicks me out of her house. Which is your house. You got the right to do whatever you want to do. But make me. You so big, you so bad. Y'all been messing with me this whole trip. Make me get out. Do you know that this woman called the police? Somebody I've been knowing for 20 plus years called the police to get me out of her house. But before she called the police, you was acting like you was about to really get down on me. You was acting like you was really about to get down on me. And your route of getting me out of your house was calling the police. And anybody that know me that I do not F with the police. So that's like, if you really want to do something with me, call the police on me. Especially over something. First, I ain't never did nothing to make somebody call the police on me, but over something as petty as me sitting down and playing my music, you asking me to get out, and me saying, make me get out, you called the police on me for that. Y'all was messing with me in the first place. And I went on about my business. I went and did something to calm my nerves down. And you gonna call the police on me? Noted. But of course, didn't even tell me she was calling police on me. She went and walked into her room, and I turned around and something in me said she calling the police. Of course, I hear her on the phone, so I'm like, she calling the police. Okay, cool. I call my cousin at the point, like, hey, they starting to act crazy up here. Can you come and trail me home? Because it's 5 of y'all, and we're in Atlanta, which, like, granted, I'm from Chicago, so, like, you never know what people have on you, but the South is very trigger happy. So in the event that, like, somebody do decide to get crazy, like, okay, cool, let me call somebody else that could come up here and make sure it don't get too crazy up in here. But nonetheless, I turn to see she on the phone. I said, oh shit, now the police about to come. Let me go start packing my stuff. I start packing my stuff. She literally bouncing off the walls, going ham, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da. I'm packing my stuff because I'm, again, like, the police are coming. I need to have my stuff packed and, like, be out of here before they get here type of deal. And in general, like, anything could happen. I really don't like when Black people call the police. I don't like when anybody calls the police on anybody. I don't like when anybody calls the police on Black people. But I really don't like when Black people call the police on other Black people over petty things, because anything could happen. Like, these motherfuckers could come in here and start shooting just because, and now everybody's sitting around here looking stupid and crying about nothing. But nonetheless, and excuse my language, obviously, I guess I'm still processing things, but nonetheless. So I packed my stuff. She bouncing off the walls, like, still talking crazy to me. I'm not paying no attention because at this point I'm focused, like, let me get my shit together. So then she come out, she throws something at me. She threw a sandal or something at her, and by God's grace, it missed me to the point that I didn't even realize that she threw it until it fell on the ground. It didn't hit me. Again, focused on me packing. She's still bouncing off the walls, da-da-da, going off, da-da-da-da. The one time that she got close enough to me, I looked up and I stood there and I looked at her in her face and just, you could do whatever you want to do in this room. The moment that you put your hands on me, just know. I'm ready. Of course, she went and found her some other business. And it was another point that I started to, like, walk towards her, and it was on some, like, people holding me back, people holding her back. And all of a sudden, my brain just clicked, like, you're not about to do nothing. You're not about to do nothing. Like, this is just silly theatrical type of stuff. So I go back to packing my stuff. Mind you, I'm still going, like, every now and then I give her a little jab. So when the point when we, like, people holding me back, I started saying some stuff to her because I realized that, and this is what I said to her. I said, you need to go talk to the people that you're really upset about, because she upset with some whole nother people because they didn't show up for her the way that they want her to show up for, and you taking that out on me. Sis, I didn't do it. And I didn't do nothing but celebrate you the whole time that I was here and give you your flowers the whole time I was here. Yes, I took some time away from your group because you brought together a nasty group of people, which again shows who you are. Neither here nor there. But I'm minding my business. I'm trying not to create a scene here. But now you want a scene. Now you done caught the police on me. You bouncing off the walls. Let's go. Let's go. Now I'm going to be a real Cancer and hit you where it hurt. Go talk to them people that you really mad with. Because it ain't me. I ain't did nothing to you. Nonetheless, I finished packing literally, as Auntie Tia said. I put my suitcase on the other side of the threshold. The police came up right at that point. They come up, they like, yeah, we got a call from here. I said, she asked me to leave. I packed my stuff. I pointed to my bags on the other side of the door. So now the police in there like, so who called us? Mind you, she's still bouncing off the walls. So we all just look at her like, now the police looking like, what? This girl goes into a whole spiel talking about, she's being very aggressive. She's just being it was what I call a Karen spiel. This girl goes into a full-on Karen spiel, calling me aggressive. She said something else that I do not remember, but it was another one of those black tropes that people use on people when they call the police. And I just started like shaking my head and doing like, aggressive. Like, that's where I am with it now. Like, ooh, like I'm like, ooh, but at the same time, I'm like, the police are here type of deal. So I say aggressive, and I think I said something else. I swear to you, I wish I could remember what I said, because whatever it was, it triggered her. And I don't remember what it is. And that's really honestly the problem with me, is that I be saying stuff to people. I have a nasty tongue. Like, if you push me there, I will really say some things to you. I have made plenty of men come to tears with the things that I've said to them because you pushing me. I kept it cool. I kept it cute. I kept it calm, and you pushing me. I said something to her. You know, this girl kicked me, put her foot on my leg in front of the police. And it's still FTP. You know what I'm saying? It's still FTP. But that police officer stood up so fast, and he was like, if you do anything else, I'm taking you to jail. Like, he really stood on business. Like, if you do anything else, I will be taking you. To the point where I had enough time to get my stuff and get out. And like, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's a few people. It's a few people. It's a few people. But the overall point is that I'm not going to even hold you. Like, as mad as I am and as mad as I was, I still was more hurt by the whole situation. Because it's like, y'all are people I've been knowing since I was in second grade. And this is how this how y'all got down? Cool. So yeah, that was a friend breakup. It was so many friend breakups. Like, some of y'all know that the last person I worked with was also a so-called friend. What I had to come to realize, and what that position taught me in general, is that people will befriend you to use you. And like, I should have known that. Like, that sounds like a very clear thing to do. Like, I remember my mother, when I was really young, I was like upset about something. And I guess it had to do with something that was happening. And my mother was very much just like, girl, F them people. Like, that literally was my mother's. She was just like, F them people. And I was like, no, if I listen to you, I won't have any friends. And to this day, my mother will like bring that story up because she thinks it's so funny. But like, she was right. My mother was right. Like, and then the thing about my mother is that she also always tell me, like, you know, she always says, like, you know how women can be, like, talk about how other women are catty and stuff like that, and just be like, you know, you just gotta watch women. And I never related to that, because I was just like, you know, one, I still do have critiques of that, because I'm like, these men's ain't a whole lot better. You know, people in general, we all got to do better once again. But it was like last year where I started to see like the stuff that my mother was talking about. And they always say, like, the older you get, you start to see what your mother be talking about, because that situation was just so nasty and petty. And like, I would not treat a dog like that. To be quite honest with you, I would not treat a dog the way that they tried to treat me. And yeah, I had my moments, but it's like, again, to not incriminate myself. Yeah, but I was like more hurt than anything, because it's like, y'all are people that I've been knowing for 20 years. Like, I literally consider y'all family. Like, it's beyond friends. Like, I consider y'all family. And that is the lesson I had to learn, is like, friends, man, like, those are your friends. They might be your associates. They might be acquaintances. They might just be the person on the street. You know what I'm saying? Like, and honestly, that's how I am with everybody. Like, if your name ain't Joan or Jackie, you don't really get a whole lot of passes with me. You really don't. Like, you really don't. Like, those are literally the two people who made sure that I still have breath in my body. So anybody else, God bless you. But I still got a good enough heart to give people other chances, I just deal with you with a very long arm, long spoon, whatever it is. And honestly, I don't be bothered with people in general if I feel like you've taken it there. So these people I'm talking about, I have not spoken to them since that moment. The people that I used to work with, the so-called friends that I have not spoken to them either. I don't want to see y'all. I don't want to hear y'all. I don't want to be around y'all. I don't want nothing to do with y'all because of the way you played it. Like, people will be your quote unquote friend just to use you, and then when they feel like they can't use you no more, they discard you, which is cool. If anytime we should come to a space where we feel like we are no longer compatible with each other, it is best for us all to go our separate way. It's the way that people play the situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still some decency to have with somebody, even if you consider them your friend. But again, going back to it, you have to realize what a friend, or I had to realize what a friend is. And also who be perpetrating as friends and really be people trying to use you, but neither here nor there. That position also taught me how people will try to get in proximity. So beyond the main group of people that I'm talking about, I also had people coming up to me like purposely befriending me because they felt like I was in a position to help them. If you want help, just ask me for help. You ain't got to pretend to be my friend for that. A man was going off about his past experiences with women, and I'm gonna talk about this in another episode too, and like how, you know, women just be all about dates. And this man said, I feed the needy all the time. And to the point that I had to explain to him, like, sir, we've been on the phone and I've eaten twice. So like, food is not what I need, but you still gonna pay for my food. But the point is that, like my man said, I help the needy all the time. You ain't got to pretend to be my friend for that. You really don't. All you got to do is come to me and say you need help. And if I can help you, I'll help you. And now, because of all these other experiences, I really don't even really be helping people like that because I'm not about to help you do something and then you F it up and F up my name. No, God bless you. Here, I'm going to give you a prayer. And if you show me that you can be trusted, I might put you on for something, but also like, I might not. But before these situations, I used to help the needy all the time. So you ain't got to pretend to hang. Either way. Y'all done got, see, that's why I say I'm still processing this, because y'all done got me in my bag with this conversation. Like, I'm in my bag with this conversation. It's something else that I wanted to talk to about this. Let me make sure. Oh yeah. Fell out with a friend because her husband didn't like me. Mind you, I was friends with the husband before I was friends with her. Mind you, I stopped being friends with him because of the way that he was treating her. Because my thing is, if you will snake somebody that you lay down next to, you will snake anybody. If you will snake somebody that had your kids, you will snake anybody. You are not to be trusted. So I don't want nothing to do with you. My silly self then decides to become friends with the wife. And of course, they get back cool. And he don't like me now, so now I'm the problem. So now she invited me to come around him, knowing that this man don't like me. Me and him never really had a conversation. The last conversation that we had, and this be my problem with people too, I will have a conversation with a person. Everything is cool. Or even if it's not cool, like, we got to understand that it's not cool. But in this situation, this is one of those situations where everything's cool, but then when I see you, it's smoke. We talked about it. You had your opportunity to say what you had on your chest, or to follow up with me and say, hey, this is actually how I'm feeling. I don't feel like it's resolved. You never did that. Now it's just smoke. You got me around this man. He don't like me. It's negative energy. Why would you do that? That's not a friend. I had to learn again. That's not a friend. Unfortunately, unfortunately, that's not a friend. Learned another tough lesson. Moving on. Then I had some other friends come to me. These are another part of the people that decide that they want me to be their friend. And now I'm at the point now where it's like, I don't want nobody coming up to me announcing to me that they want to be my friend, because I'm already going to be looking at you like, what you want? What do you see that you want to quote unquote be my friend? So in the last 2 years, I've been developing these friendships that have actually been frenemies. And I ain't never really had no frenemies before. So it was very stark to me, because it's like, you saying we friends, but you doing sneak stuff. Like, you not even pretending. You not even good at pretending to be a friend. And then some people just don't know how to be a good friend. So I give that grace too. Like some people just don't know how to be good friends. And it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't fault nobody for that. Clearly you missed some things in your life. But either way, I'm not going to be a casualty to it. I wish you all the best, nothing but love, peace, and hair grease. But I'm all my get out of jail free cards is gone for friends. So again, I'm going to remove myself from the situation. I wish you nothing but the best, but I don't want to be a part of that. Then it be the little homies and they crews that be trying to little homie me. Them the ones that really get on my nerves. Them the ones that really get on my nerves because I can count on 2 fingers how many times I've ever been a little homie. And best believe if I'm ever anybody's little homie, trust me, it's somebody like it's the homie is the big homie is really a big homie. Like I'm not just little homie into nobody. And even the big homies that I had, like we almost here and here. We almost here and here. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Some people might be listening to this thinking that I'm talking about a big homie talking about some other people. I'm probably not even talking about that person because trust and believe, when whatever room I stepped into, anybody knew that I was the big homie in that situation. But I digress. Moving back on, you trying to little homie me, which like I be very like out the way. Now, like my personality is starting to come out more, so like I be more in the way now. But in general, like especially before the last year, I really be out the way. Like I could be in a room and not even be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially depending on what the reason for us being together is. Like, if it's somebody's birthday or somebody this is not my show. I'm just here. This is not my show. If it's my birthday, I'm still, because of the way that I've done movement work, I still come in like, this is our show. Very rarely am I showing up like, it's my show. Very rarely. Very, very rarely. Like, again, I could count that on 2 fingers and really just 1. And even still, I'm still showing up for everybody. Like the one time that I'm thinking about is when, for the video shoot, I'm the artist here. If there's anybody's shows today, it's my show. But I'm still slaving in my kitchen cooking food to make sure that when we get there, everybody get a good plate. Now, granted, a part of it was for the video, but I could have cooked 1 plate of food for that video. No, I cooked a whole spread of food so that everybody could come and eat, made sure that there was liquor and juice and water and everything to make sure that it's a good vibe created for everybody, because that's how I show up to places. I prefer not to come into a space thinking like I'm only here to take. No, I'm here to give. I'm here to make sure that everybody is good, that everybody leaves this space feeling good about themselves. Anyway, back to the little homies. So that's how I show up in spaces. So for whatever reason, people be trying to treat me like I'm the little homie. No, baby. No, I will never, ever, 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 ever in the history of ever be your little homie. And not to mention, every time you invite me somewhere with your friends, turns out you're the little homie. You're the little homie, babe. You're the little homie. You're the little homie. You're the one that people are treating like nothing, or like a child. And I'm literally sitting there watching these dynamics play off and looking at the people that's treating you like that, like, and who are you? Because they really don't be nobody. But people be so excited to be up under people that they'll be the little homie just to be in the room. I ain't never been in a room just to be around somebody, ever in my life. On anybody, on my daddy, on anybody. I've never been in any room just to be around somebody. If I'm in that room, it's because I believe that there's a genuine relationship there. If I'm in that room, it's because we vibing off of each other. I've never been in a room to feel like, oh, I'm in the big room with people. I don't think that nobody is more important to me than me. And I don't think that I'm more important than nobody else. So I ain't never going to be in a room thinking like, oh, I need to be in a room with these people. Is you cool? I crossed and still was in that room because I felt like I belonged there. which is the reason why I got in so much trouble while I was online. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to move right along. The point is that I've never shown up in any type of room that didn't feel like I was supposed to be there. So I've had to get rid of all the little homies in my circle too. Anyways, how things come together. Keep praying for me, y'all. Keep praying for me. Keep me on the main line. Please do. How things all come together. Like I say, through all of the ups and downs or friendships that I have been through, I have had to isolate. And again, I always thought that isolation was a trigger for me, so I avoided it. I avoided it because when I get really depressed, I do isolate. I don't want to go nowhere. I don't want to be around nobody. I don't want to do all these things, so I isolate. So now I'm like, okay, well, I can't isolate. I can't isolate because I don't want to go into a down spiral. But I've learned to isolate in a very healthy way. And I've just learned so much about myself, about what peace actually looks like how I could be at peace by myself. Like, I'm my only child. Like, I've always known some level of peace by myself, but I'm talking about real, like, I ain't nowhere I want to be. Ain't nowhere for me to be. Like, I just really just be in my space, in my peace. Like, I just really be like, dang, this feel good. Like, I really F with me. Like, I really F with me. Like, I really F with me. I like what I watch on TV. I like what I eat. I like everything about me. It's some stuff, like, I'm not perfect. It's some stuff that I still need to improve on, but I really mess with me. I really rock with me. And, like, why would I disturb my peace to be around somebody else? Why would I disturb my peace to be around somebody else that act, and then it be the people that act like I'm disturbing their peace. Oh, baby, I don't gotta be in your space. I really don't. I can go home. Good heat. Good heat. Good electricity. Good food. Good water. Good whatever I want. I don't drink juice. I have a bar here. I don't really drink at home. Matter of fact, I don't drink at home. But if I wanted to do that, I can do that in my house. If I leave my house, the vibes need to be excellence. The vibes need to be superior. The vibes need to be given Nigerian party. That's what the vibes need to be given. Or like peace and serenity. Because otherwise, I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to be there. It's some other stuff on here I want to talk about. I'm just sitting up here running my mouth. Y'all letting me run my mouth. But I do want to go with the lessons learned. So that's the alone part. And then just in general, like when I meet people now, I meet people as humans. Like I don't meet them as like, because I put my friends on a very high pedestal of like, these are people that really mean something to me. These are people that I will really go to war for. Like in real life, like will show up and like, what happened? Like that's the type of person I am. Now I just know like, okay, these are people. Like they may be here forever. They may not be here forever. If I can help you, I'll be there. If I can't, I won't. Not gonna stress myself. And then like, okay, so you know, in that whole idea of isolation, it's like this clearing space, right? And so I've been feeling for a long time, like the way that I've kind of like processed it and like came to peace with it is that, okay, obviously God needed me to be by myself for a while, for there to be things within myself that I developed. And at the same time, I feel like there are eventually going to be good people that come into my life. And so I have to make space for those people. And I think that's a big part of it too, of like, this relates to dating, but in the sense of friends, that I'm not going back to bad situations. Because there's also this belief that like, there are going to be better people that come into my life. You know what I'm saying? Like there are going to be better people that help me along my next journey and that I help along their next journey, and we're going to meet and we're going to align and they're going to be doing their healing work as well. And those people have not come into my life yet, but I believe they're coming. And I'm not even going to say they haven't come, because I do have friends that are on their journeys. And to be fair, like we're all on our journey. It's just like, what work are you doing on your journey? So even the beef that I got with a lot of people is like, yeah, smoke, but it's not even smoke. I would like, I am kind of one of those people that I'd be like, I wish you the best, but I really don't wish you the best. But like in general, I wish you the best. Like you still God's child. God bless you. But at the same time, like I want people who are like intentional about their self-work and that are intentional about being good friends, good humans. Like you don't beyond the friendship, just be a good human being. And if you can't be a good human being, just stay away from me. Just stay away from me. And I will do the same. If I feel like I cannot be a good human being to you, and I will say that too. All of this stuff has made me reflect on myself a lot too. Of like, how do I show up in spaces? And when am I pushing myself past the boundaries? Because even about the Atlanta story, I push myself past many boundaries. And like I said, this is something that my therapist has really been working with me on. Like, you got to know when to fold them and when to hold them and when to close them and whatever else the saying is. Like, you got to know, like, and that kept being my problem. I would take space, but then I would try to come back to the space. Take space, try to come back to the space. Like, no, you just need to dead this. You just need to go ahead and let it go. Let it go wherever it's going to go. Let it go. So that's the lessons that I'm learning. And it all comes together. Like, it's all for the best. Like, it really is all for the best. It has been some hard, treacherous waters, but it's for the best. I've really been running my mouth. I'm gonna go to Don't Be Rude. This is another one that gets me hot, so I'm gonna try to keep it cute and short on this. But for Don't Be Rude, I wanted to talk about, because this is the first time that I did an episode since the holidays. And I could not let this pass, okay? Y'all made that girl popular for making macaroni and cheese. And I just want to stand up with the ancestors and say how displeased we are about that. And y'all know exactly who I'm talking about. That girl Tina. Y'all done made her macaroni the most popular macaroni over the holiday season. Now I saw the name Tina. And I found out about her macaroni from another popular black food influencer. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let me go click on it. Teeny's not black. Teeny ain't got no melanin. Teeny is very non-melanated, okay? Now, let's get into the recipe. Let's get into her recipe, because it's not my recipe. Like I said, I get most of my recipes from my grandmother. So we do things a little different. But I'm going to tell you where Teeny went right. Teeny did use that roux. And a lot of y'all don't be using that roux the way y'all need to be using that roux. You know what I'm saying? And so Teeny used that roux. But this was the first reason I knew that this was not Teeny's recipe. Because y'all don't be cooking with no roux. Them people do not be cooking with no roux. And like, yes, roux is a French term, which means that it came from the French, which like, at this point, I question everything. So like, did it really come from the French? But nonetheless, that style of preparing is known for French, but like, y'all ain't getting down in these kitchens like that. Stop it. Y'all is not getting down in the kitchen like that. And I learned that, or not even learned, but looking at that recipe, I'm like, sis, you got this from another black food influencer or your man's mama. One of the two, but either way, that ain't your recipe, sis. And you see why I be questioning all of this information I be learning about the history of different foods, because was that your recipe? Was that your recipe? Because it's 2024 and Teeny come from a long line of people making recipes that ain't theirs. Okay, so that roux let me know that that wasn't your recipe, sis. Then, evaporated milk. Ain't nobody using no evaporated milk on no macaroni and cheese. And let me say this too. Because, you know, it is a lot of TikTok cookers out here. You know what I'm saying? And like, technically I'm a TikTok cooker, but I'm using non-TikTok recipes that my grandma taught me. So like, you know what I'm saying? It's not really TikTok recipes, baby. These is through the bloodline recipes. Anyway, you ain't using no evaporated milk on no macaroni and cheese. So that's something that you got from another TikTok food influencer. Or again, a little rendition that you got from that man's mama. And in general, I just looked at it and I was like, this is not even the best recipe, and I know it ain't yours. I know for a fact it ain't yours. And this is why I want to say this. Stop cooking on camera. Stop cooking on camera. And granted, like, I know people is making lots of money off of this. So I know it's something that is going to die hard. But it's something that reminds me of when those TikTok dancers, the black TikTok creative dancers, went on strike and stopped doing dances because they realized that the white people was stealing their dances and trending off of it and making money off of it. And they was not getting the same popularity. Now, y'all stop this now. It's 2024. It's 2024 now. I want to get off of white people's tail. Let me say this too. I want to get off of white people's tail. But y'all cutting up. Y'all cutting up now. Y'all cutting up. Y'all trying to go viral for dancing and cooking. Cooking soul food at that. It's not right. It's not right, and y'all need to stop it. It's not right, and y'all need to stop it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. And this is where our allies need to be stepping up. Our co-conspirators need to be stepping up and getting these people together. I shouldn't even have to make this video. It should be a white person on the front line telling these people to get it together. And this is why America the way that it is. This is why 45, 47 about to be president, because there's not enough people standing up on the front line and telling these people to stop doing this stuff. Anyway, I also want to say this. And like I said, if you watch my videos, I never do a recipe online. And my videos don't get that much engagement. I mean, every now and then I'll get something good. And obviously, like, my presentation is a big part of it too. So making sure that my presentation is starting to improve is a big part of it. But I purposely don't cook online because it's like, one, these are not my recipes. These are my grandmother's recipes that she got from her sister and her mother. And, you know, the long line of black cooks that literally slaved for these recipes. You know what I'm saying? Like, these recipes are an inheritance. If you really think about it, these recipes are our inheritance. And we just put them out online for the world to see. And then get mad because somebody else done picked it up and made money off of it. So I hope that people heed this message. I really do. I really hope that people heed this message, because we need to stop doing that. And then it also made me think about to the story that I told earlier, which is like, our people literally bought their freedom with these recipes. Literally brought their freedom with these recipes. They literally went out and fished and hunted so that we could be free. Come on now. Come on now. This is bigger than us. This is ancestral. If you want to come to a black-owned restaurant and eat this food and patronize us, or buy a black-owned food product or whatever it is, that's how you honor the ancestors. But stealing people's content? Come on now. Stop that. Stop it. Then let me tell y'all about my grandma. Another reason I don't cook on camera is because, again, like, my grandma taught me how to cook. So it's like, she would die. Like, first of all, my grandma don't even be telling us all her secrets. You know what I'm saying? She really don't. And I ain't gonna tell no stories. I probably have gotten the most secrets out of my grandmother about cooking it out of anybody. And like, I'm named after my grandma. I was raised by my grandma. So like, you know, I ain't gonna lie. My grandma loved her son. She loved her grandson. She loved the male children in our family. But out of the girls in our family, it's me. It's me. And she don't even give me all of her stuff. She really don't even give me all of her stuff. But I probably got the most of it. And that's how my granny is. Like, she not just about to be out here giving out no recipes. She like, then what they need me here for? Like, my grandma stood on her feet in hot kitchens for more than 20 years. All of my life, my grandma was a cook. Like, she literally labored over them recipes. Like, she not about to just give that up, give that out. No. Granted, I tell all my business. Y'all know all my business, but y'all don't know all my business. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all know all my business, but y'all don't know all my business. And when I get in that kitchen, that's my business. You get out my kitchen. You don't need to be in my kitchen. You do not need to be in my kitchen. And I said that before, and people got sensitive about it. And I meant what I said. Keep them people out y'all kitchen. You hear what I'm saying? Because now they cooking and they don't need you to cook it. They don't have to patronize you. They don't have to patronize you if you're giving out recipes online. Remember what I said about when I lived with the 3 Asian exchange students, the 3 Chinese exchange students? I didn't see nothing in that kitchen that I ever ate from a Chinese store. You want to know why? Because they're not giving up their recipes. They're not giving up their food. That's what belongs to them. You hear me? Okay, now catch it if you caught it. But yeah, just stop. Our ancestors, they don't like that. I don't think they like that. I don't think that they like that. And this topic also made me think about Booker T. Washington, which there's another story. I'm going to get that book. It's a book about Black farming. It's a story in there that's about Black and white solidarity too in the South around farming. But the gist of the book is around Black farming. And it talked about Booker T. Washington in a light that I've never seen anybody talk about Booker T. Washington before, because they always paint Booker T. Washington against W.E.B. Du Bois. And I always felt like I agree with W.E.B. Du Bois of like, we don't have to continue to like do this manual labor. Like, we can be intellectual as well. And I do think that it is important for Black people to be intellectual for the sense of our own intellectualism. And I'm starting to unlearn a bunch of the stuff about myself. I've never read The Miseducation of the Negro. And Lord, please let me be saying that right, because y'all gonna cook me. But by Carter G. Woodson, I've never read that, but I'm starting to even deprogram myself around what intellectualism actually is, because what most of we describe as intellectualism is about Western intellectualism and not necessarily African intellectualism. So I'm like processing all of that too. But to that point, I just always agree with W.E.B. Du Bois about that. But hearing Booker T. Washington from the perspective that she said it was so true. Like his whole frame of thought was like, listen, we got these skills. We can make money off these skills. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, whether you a free man now, but that bricklaying is still a skill that people will pay you for. So you go lay as many bricks as you need to lay in order to get your family in a good position. You know what I'm saying? That's what Booker T. Washington was on. And the same around food. Like, this is our inheritance. We can really be putting a hurting in it. And if you look at most of the Black businesses, a lot of them are food-based. A lot of Black businesses are food-based because it's one of those skills that we have. So this is what Booker T. Washington was telling us. And even beyond that, and which was the part that I really loved, is that it wasn't just about commodifying it. It was also about, and this is what we're going to do for ourselves in order to survive. So his school, he used people from the neighborhood to come in and help build it, and also to learn in the school at the same time. So it wasn't just, I misused the word use, but it wasn't just using people for their labor. It was a symbiotic, cooperative, collaborative relationship that, yeah, you could come learn, and we need a schoolhouse. So if we got the skills, let's build a schoolhouse to learn it. Like, that was the type of thinking that he had. And I actually saw that thinking when I went to Cuba, and it was something that I thought about when I was there. Like, this is amazing. So Cuba is known for like having a very high education rate. It's also known for having a very good health outcomes as well. And it's because education is free in Cuba, and it's a right to everybody. Now, there are some racial issues in Cuba that I'll get into in a different episode. But it's the idea that, like, in theory, education is available to everybody. And to the point where they have engineers that live in their own community, like these high skilled people that live in their communities that is then be able to use those skills for the use of the community. So one of our last days there, we went to like this community center that was built by the people in the community. Like, it was like an old water tank facility or something like that was no longer being used. They literally turned it into a youth center, and it's this vibrant, like, arts-based and like theatrical and also like visual arts kind of space, music, like all of this stuff. And they literally built it with their hands from the people in the neighborhood because they had the skills to do it. And that's the type of stuff that Booker T. Washington was talking about. And cooking is one of those things. It is an art. They call it a culinary art for a reason. It is very valuable. It's literally how the first colonizers did not make it on this land because they couldn't feed themselves. That's how important it is. Like, I used to look at cooking as like such a so-called simple thing. It is literally how we live. And we just giving it out for free all willy-nilly on the internet. I got some other stuff to say about that, but I'm gonna leave that where it's at right now. Either way, shout out to Cooking with Kaya. Cooking with Kaya. Cooking with Kaya. Y'all gonna leave that girl alone, okay? Let her do her thing. She, I understand the critiques that people got about her. Kaya said she gonna steal y'all man. She said y'all better get in that kitchen because she's stealing y'all man, okay? And I'm not mad at sis. Now, what I will say, again, keep the recipes off the internet, but you can show a plate and twerk at the same time. That's your business, as Auntie Tabitha would say. That's your business. Because really they just coming for the food and the twerking. They don't really care about what your recipe is, sis. They don't care what your recipe is. That is not why that's not why you taking people's mans. I'ma digress. I'ma keep it positive. I'ma digress. But like, sis, do your thing. She young, she turned. Auntie Tia, more of us need to be Auntie Tia, okay? More of us need to be Auntie Tia. Auntie Tia said, oh, you stealing a man, I'm stealing your daddy. We need to come together and do something together. That's what the people our age and people older than us, that's how we need to be embracing young people and vice versa. I'm starting to get in the age where it's this young versus old beef. Baby, it's no beef. It's no beef. It's no beef. It is no beef. I celebrate the young girls as much as I can. I really do. I really do. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. Like, y'all got it. I love celebrating the young girls. And I also have enough sense to know that, like, the stuff that y'all don't got, I got. And some of the stuff that y'all got, I got. If you know, you know. But, it's like, I have went through those ages and learned the stuff that I've learned. I could have had a better time in my 20s because I was busy doing movement work, but that was okay because it was important. It's important work to do. But I had enough fun in my 20s, and even before then, I'm still having fun, but like, I don't miss it. I don't miss my 20s. Good Lord. When SZA said stuck in them 20-somethings, like, I don't miss my 20s. My 20s tried to take me out, and the 30s came in strong, but she getting somewhere and sitting down. Like, she finally getting somewhere and sat it down. I don't miss it. I don't miss it. So that's why I celebrate y'all, because this is the time for y'all to, like, be in y'all youth and, like, take everything that the world has for you. No apologies. No apologies. Of course, give respect to the elders. Of course. But don't let nobody play with you either. And that's what people really be mad about with young people, because they don't let nobody play with them. So stop playing with these kids. This is also what I want to say. This year, I'm not going to lie. We got in the kitchen this year. We really got in the kitchen this year. We really turned up our kitchen skills. Everybody and their mama been posting plates lately. Everybody and their mama, paper plate, porcelain plate, every kind of plate has been posted. Okay? And we doing our best. You know what I'm saying? We are doing our best. Some of us a little better than others. I still got a lot of work to do, but we are doing our best. And it's not for the male gaze. It's not for the male gaze, but we know y'all looking. We know y'all looking. We know y'all looking. We know y'all like the yams next to the macaroni. Come on now. We know y'all looking. So the point about this is, I'm not seeing enough TikTok videos of the men's fixing nothing. Y'all ain't fixing nothing. Y'all ain't paying for nothing to be fixed. Y'all ain't doing no tricking videos. Y'all ain't giving us no eye candy. The only thing that y'all doing on these phones is tripping and talking to the chat. And I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't want to hear not one more person talking to the chat and tripping. Y'all can trip a little bit, but that's not the point. The point is that I don't like that, especially if you're not Kai Cenat, okay? That man is talking to his chat and has become a millionaire, which means that he can trick all day long. This man tricking on his friends. He's so upset. He's tricking on his friends and is upset. And Kai, you gonna learn. Everybody ain't your friend, but that's not the point. The point is that unless your chat is giving you some shmoney, stop talking to that chat. Stop talking to that chat. Okay? And if you are going to talk to it, do it on your own time. Keep it off the internet. I need to be posting more tricking videos. Post a video of how you spoiling a woman. That's the videos that we want to see, okay? That's the videos that we want to see. It could be your imaginary woman. You could be walking down the street like, if I had a woman, this is the type of stuff I'd be buying her. That's what we want to see. That's what we want to see. I don't want to see the stuff that y'all be posting. And that's another thing. Put the mics down. Put the mics down for 2025 and make tricking videos and fixing videos all year. Our grannies had on them gowns. They was cooking in them kitchens, raising them kids, and the men was building houses and paying bills. Y'all ain't doing nothing but complaining. Put the mics down. Except for Lou Young and Nav Green. Y'all can keep the mic up because y'all actually be saying some funny stuff on there. But everybody else, put them dang on mics down. And shout out to B. Lynn because she be holding it down for the women. But yeah, put the mics down, stop talking to that chat, and go make some tricking and fixing videos. Greatest place on earth. Y'all, this video gotta be close to 2 hours or something. I've been really running my mouth. But for greatest place on earth, it's the new year. It's the new year. And of course, during the new year, we all have resolutions and energy that we want to put into the new year. And I am just sending good energy for everything that we want to accomplish in this new year. And something I'm pressing myself on, and I hope that we can all do it together, is like, so I got my plan. But then it's God's plan. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully there's enough of a Venn diagram and overlap that it's like a lot of God's plan and my plan and vice versa. And that's why I'm really trying to be like in alignment with God in 2025. Like, yeah, stuff that I want, and I hope that those things are motivated by the things that God wants for me. And I'm going to be like really sitting and to hear and understand more about that. And I feel like God gave me enough nuggets in 2024 to show me like these are the things that I want you to focus on, to, you know, give your time to. And so I want to pour more into those things. And I just want to be about God's business in 2025. And God as I know God. I'm not talking about y'all, God. I'm not y'all, because, you know, we family. But I'm not talking about the God that people create. I'm talking about the God that created me. You know what I'm saying? The God that made me uniquely who I am. That's the God that I want to connect with and be in God's will with. And I just pray that all of us hear more from God and understand God's direction for our own life, and that we manifest everything that God has for us in 2025. Like, we did it, y'all. We made it through 2024. Like, 2024 was not playing with us. 2024 came in swinging. Like, everybody talk about that Cat Williams interview. Like, that man came in swinging, and it's been up ever since. Like, it literally was up all of 2024. Like, I'm sure when I get off right now, I'm going to see something about 2024 that's like, yep, it's still up. So I pray that we fought all the battles and got all the strength and all the knowledge and everything that we needed to really soar in 2025. And I believe that we did. So that's the energy. Those are the affirmations that I'm sending to all of us. We got this. We got this. Like, everything that God has for us, we got this. And, you know, we're going to have our tough moments, and we got that too. Like, we're going to be like, what? Like, that's how you come in? Like, I'm not even sweating. I'm not even sweating that. That's how we coming for the challenges in 2025. That's little stuff. That's little stuff. Like, I already know what to do with this. So I'm sending y'all a lot of love and good energy. You know what I'm saying? We gonna pop some bottles tonight. You know what I'm saying? We gonna put one in the air tonight. Not me. You know what I'm saying? But y'all gonna put one in the air tonight. And, you know, especially in Chicago, like, it's gonna sound like a Chicago night tonight. You know what I'm saying? And, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe my people in the South and like Detroit and a few other places, like, I mean, everybody got a hood, so everybody know what I'm talking about. But it's gonna be a real Chicago night tonight, and I love that for us. Like, I love that for us. We deserve this. We deserve this. We deserve a new year, y'all. We deserve it. I'm sending y'all so much love, so much good energy. See y'all. don't even call these men our men. These be our friends. Never give your all to a man, you don't fall for that man.